guys? I'm Shaun Hopper, and welcome to Musicians on the Record. Hit it.
This is huge, musicians on the record. Bring it on.
Hi, welcome to Musicians on the Record. I'm David Ward. You've heard the music, now hear their story. I am super excited. Today on the show, we are going to have some guitar wizardry with the wonderful Shaun Hopper is on the show today. Welcome, Shaun.
Thanks for having me, David. Appreciate that.
I'm so glad that you're here. Your album is called The Wood and the Wire, which came out in 2016. It's on iTunes, on your website. Where else can people get that? Anywhere that you can get an album or CD or whatever we're calling it today?
Yeah, they can come to a show and buy one from me. That would be the best way to get one.
Yeah, come to a show. Absolutely. We really like to get the musician's story here on Musicians on the Record, Shaun. So can you tell us, you have a very unique style of guitar playing. It's amazing. I was looking at some of the videos. Where did all that start for you? When did you fall in love with the guitar?
Well, it pretty much started probably when I was about 9 years old. I'm from South Georgia, and I was working on a farm cropping tobacco.
Wow.
And there was a gentleman there that he was like the head man. He was in charge of all of us. And every time we'd take a break, he would play guitar. And I fell in love with the sound of the acoustic guitar. And I thought it was such a convenient instrument. You know, you could just lug it around in the backseat of your car. You could take it anywhere, you know, like whether you want to have a case or not, it didn't matter. So I remember those moments like they were yesterday. And it was very inspiring. And then again, that happened another time at a game room in my hometown of Adel, Georgia. A guy brought a guitar. He's playing acoustic guitar, hanging out, and everybody just flocks to him and listens to the tunes. And it just reinforced my inspiration for the instrument. So that's kind of where, the birth of it started for me, my interest in acoustic guitar. And I just took it from there and, just became a sponge. Yeah. Seeking out a wealth of knowledge from various players, various styles.
Wow, amazing. Do you remember what the guy's name was on the tobacco farm when you first saw that guitar?
Yep, his name is Will Holt. Will Holt and another guy, the other guy's name was Tim Rutland. Those two dudes are pretty much the reason I got introduced to the instrument.
Yeah, thank you to those guys. Fantastic. Wonderful. And so you got the bug for music, for the guitar. When did it become that you got your first guitar?
I'd come down to Tampa, Florida to visit my mom one time, and her boss, his name's Dr. Dan Maddock. Okay. One night, he's got a great guitar collection, and I'm hanging out, and I don't hardly know how to play anything. And I'm hanging out with him, and I'm playing this acoustic guitar, this Ibanez, and I just love it. I can't take my hands off of it. And finally, I'm getting ready to leave vacation and go back home to Georgia. And as I'm leaving, he offers the guitar to me, just gives it to me for free.
Wow!
And that was a pretty inspirational moment. And so I practiced for years. Yeah, it eventually got broken at a party. My brother threw a party one night, and I came home to the headstock hanging off the guitar by the string. So that was my first real acoustic guitar, and then I figured out a way to save my money to buy my own.
Got it. And what was that first guitar Ibanez is great guitars, but
yeah. First acoustic guitar I purchased was an Alvarez. Yep. It was a black. God, if I can remember correctly, it was a black Alvarez with cutaway. Got it for like $300. Wow,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so you were listening to music, guitars, starting to play. What were you listening to that was just really, growing your passion for music?
Well, at the time, I was listening to what the most popular music around the area was, which this was when Creed had just gotten huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matchbox 20 and Creed. And,
Sure.
and then as far as like other bands like that have been well established for years, Leonard Skinner is like, you know, a staple in the South.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone loved that stuff. So I wanted to learn it too.
Sure.
And that's just, yeah.
Yeah.
So I started playing bass also.
Oh.
And I just realized as I was playing the guitar, I was never good with a pick. All my friends would play with a pick, and it just didn't feel right to me. So I would always play the guitar with my fingers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I want to try my hand at bass.
Okay.
So my mom, she bought me a 4-string Samick, like $140 bass.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it. I played it all the time. And so I got into playing bass as well.
Amazing.
And just kept going and going and just getting exposed to, again, different styles of music. And like around 17 years old, like that's pretty much when my life changed, because as far as guitar goes, I met a guy named Sam Passetti that I'd never heard. I didn't know what fingerstyle guitar playing was. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know who Chet Atkins was. And I heard this guy, Sam Passetti, play one night, and my mind it was blown.
Okay.
I was absolutely, fascinated that one instrument could sound like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was using all kind of loop pedals, and I thought he was using tracks or something. Maybe there was like a little person under the stage with a guitar helping him out.
Right.
But yeah, come to find out, it was just him. He started offering me lessons and stuff, and I just absorbed that style.
Amazing. What was it about that, Shaun, that really just caught you at that point?
Oh, I just love that you could get so much sound from one guitar and create this orchestra.
Yes.
With your thumb and your fingers and like the palm of your hand, getting muted sounds and bass lines and melodies and percussive little pops and clicks and nuances. When you put all that together in a beautiful formula, it sounds like a band.
Yes, it does.
It would sound very full. And I remember being catatonic when I was watching and listening to this guy, and I just got hooked. And then when I met Sam Passetti, shortly after that, he started introducing me to guitar players, that a whole world of instrumentalists I had never heard of. Don Ross, of course, Chet Atkins, Tommy Emmanuel, Doyle Dykes, Buster B. Jones, Martin Taylor. And the list goes on and on and on with, and Joe Pass and Michael Hedges.
Yes.
All these great players. I'd never heard of this music before.
Yeah.
I'd never been exposed to this, so I started listening to it, and I was hooked.
Wow.
It became a new form of meditation for me. I listened to Breakfast in the Field by Michael Hedges probably 500 times, just over and over and over. I don't know how to play every nuance of that record, but I have it stored in my neurology.
Yes.
I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
Every little slur and hammer-on, and even the type of effects used on every track. I just love that record so much.
Incredible.
So I just really absorbed in the style.
Yeah, so your musical vocabulary just grew immensely, it sounds like. And it sounds like there was a reason the pick never felt right, because that's not the way you were supposed to play, right?
Yeah.
And even though Skinner, and maybe we'll get some Freebird today, who knows? But even though they're great, something else sort of. And I was watching some of the videos, and you are going back and forth and doing some amazing stuff. I didn't even know what you were doing. How did you develop more of that style?
Well, the percussive stuff is a lot of fun, but I got inspired by, as many guitar players did, by a gentleman named Andy McKee. Andy, he just a champion of a guitar player and a fantastic composer. He believe he got third place in the Winfield fingerstyle guitar competition in 2000. I think it was 2000 or 2001. Can't remember the exact year, but he got third place, and his career started to take off. And by 2006, YouTube came out, and Andy was on there doing this percussive stuff. Yeah. And he he went viral, and he became a huge sensation. So he inspired a lot of players, and myself included.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so Andy was an inspiration. Some of the other guys you're talking about, certainly Joe Pass.
Oh yeah, well, Martin Taylor, which is a great name for a guitar player.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I love his name, Martin Taylor. Like, that's awesome. No, Martin Taylor is just oh my gosh, and I use this word because it's legit. Like, he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. The man is a brilliant jazz, blues, fingerstyle guitar player. His use of chord voicings, and walking bass lines, and movements, and chord substitutions is out of this world. So I heard him play Georgia on My Mind, and it's the sweetest arrangement I'd ever heard. And then there's Tommy Emmanuel, who's the Australian gladiator, who just goes out on stage for 2 hours, 3 hours straight, and he's just a lightning bolt. He's nonstop. You don't hear him make mistakes, and if he does, it doesn't matter. He's just so entertaining, and he's so unbelievably good. He makes us accomplished guitar players just go, how?
Right.
How? I've practiced for hours and hours and hours this week on that one riff.
Right.
How do you do it?
Right.
That's Tommy. Yeah. And there's Don Ross. Don Ross is this fantastic composer. He's got a sound like he among the fingerstyle world. Don Ross just has this sound that it kind of like when you hear B.B. King playing the guitar.
Yeah.
You would know you hear a bunch of blues guitar being played, and when you hear a certain tone, you go, that's B.B. King.
Right.
Well, that's kind of how Don Ross is. His compositions are so interesting, but yet still so signature to him because of his touch and his tone. You know when you hear a track played, it could be amongst 100 tracks being played with fingerstyle guitar music. You'll know which one's Don Ross. Yeah. That's how signature his sound is. His sound has been described as heavy wood. They call it heavy. I've heard it called heavy wood.
That's great.
He's from Canada.
Okay.
And I've been a fan of his for I think 17 years now, and I just love it. As a matter of fact, Don Ross' Passion Session is like a classic staple album that every guitar player should have, but I think every music lover should have, because it's just so well written and well arranged, and it takes you on a journey. So, and then Sam Passetti, he's the guy that really changed my life as far as fingerstyle goes. Yes. He's a technician like I've never seen. His tone is immaculate. His technical skills are absurdly good. He's got a voice like an angel. And he plays all of this intricate guitar music while singing on top of it. Mind you, he's not near as famous or popular as Tommy or Chet Atkins or Don Ross or these guys. He's just a guy that plays local in St. Augustine. Yeah. But he is definitely, I would call, one of the great unknowns.
Well,
he's not a guy you ever hear about, but man, when you hear him, when you get within earshot of Sam Passetti, you just can't help but stop and listen.
Well, that's what I love about talking with musicians like yourself, and we get to talking about inspirations and influences, and when people are watching the show, if they don't know them, Google them and get to their website, get to their music online, and learn about all of these folks. So it's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
For someone who hasn't heard your music, Shaun, how would you describe your sound? How would you describe your signature on the guitar?
People ask me that all the time. Yeah. People say, "What kind of music do you play?" Yeah. And this is what I say to them: hopefully, good music. Yeah, right. Yeah. I keep it as simple as possible in order to not, I guess you could say, preload the content that maybe they want to hear. Like, oh, you play blues, or you play classical, or you play jazz, or funk. I just like to play. I like sound. I like melody, and I like sound. I like groove. Yeah. I like all those things, and I don't really care what the style is. If it sounds good to my ear, if I respond to it from a visceral point of view, you could call it whatever you want. Right. I'll listen to it. So I just tell people, and they're like, "I want to come listen to you. What kind of music is it?" And I'll just say, hopefully good music.
Right.
I'll say it's good music, but hopefully to you it will be good music.
Right.
And because anything can fall under that.
That's right.
That category.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I love it. Beyond.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah. Beyond genre. Excellent. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back as you're developing and working your chops on the guitars, Sam was an influence and a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other important teachers that came into your life teaching guitar?
Yeah, there was another gentleman named Bill Brown. He was a fellow that he was teaching me how to play bass guitar, and he was the first person I kind of saw playing or heard playing fingerstyle, and I got interested in it. And then I heard Sam, and Sam took it to another level. Bill, I forgot to mention that Bill actually introduced me to the style, and Sam took it to a whole other level.
Okay.
But yeah, Bill Brown, he was very very like vital in my development as a fingerstyle guitar player.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so when you're developing all of this, you're loving music, loving the guitar. What was that dream you had, Shaun, that was also developing? What did you want to do with music? Where did you want it to go?
I would have this thought that as many people have, I guess. I would picture myself on a stage, playing for a big crowd, or just a crowd, big, small, it's all subjective. But playing for people that were paying attention and listening, that were engaged emotionally, so that I could get fuel from that emotional energy, and then I could give it back with my instrument. And when that frame dialogue is going back and forth, I can perform my best. Because I find that when I play in bars or restaurants are okay. Bars definitely not really my thing.
Okay.
There's no life.
Yeah.
There's no energetic life because I'm not getting fuel.
Yeah.
Any life. Therefore, I can't give any back. So I guess you could say it was that, like being on a stage where people were engaged and listening and getting to respond, getting an emotional response from the music that I was providing, and their emotional response, thereby, motivated me further to continue to create more music. So it became a beautiful cycle.
Yeah, I love that give and take of energy between you and the crowd. And when you pictured that image, when that dream was developing, was that picture just you as a solo artist? Were you picturing yourself in a band, or that wasn't the case at all?
I did a little bit of both. I picture myself playing solo, and I would play solo. Okay. And then I joined a band also playing bass guitar for many years. I played pop rock. I played heavy metal. Okay. I played country. I went on the road with a country band. Playing like casino circuits and stuff.
Yeah, wow.
But at the end of the day, I would always end up coming back to the acoustic guitar. I would spend a lot of time playing with bands, and then when we get back to a hotel room, I would lock myself in the bathroom while they were sleeping and play my guitar so I could practice.
Yeah.
That's how in love with the instrument I was.
Yeah.
So
it's commitment, dedication, right? And that passion. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the learning lessons that you've learned along the way? Maybe some challenges and obstacles?
The first, my rule number one, or lesson number one to aspiring musicians, is get used to the word no. Just get used to the word no. And a lot of people will hear that and go well, that's very pessimistic. They'll say, oh, you're being very pessimistic. I tell them, don't confuse pessimism with realism. Yeah. If you think you're going to go to every single venue, every single agent, every single presenter, everywhere you want to play, every person you want to buy your album, you think it's going to be yes every time, you're sadly mistaken. So to go into it knowing that you're going to get told no more than you're going to get told yes is a good thing, because then you can prepare yourself for that. Then it won't affect you emotionally. You can know that it is a numbers game. Right? You can know that going into it, okay, I went and tried to get this gig, and the guy said no. Well, some people might give up completely right there. Right. Yes, I guess it's not in the cards for me. I give up. I tried and I got told no. Well, go try again. And then they try again, they get told no. And they try 10 times, they get told no. But you continue. You really work hard, and you practice, and you just, you train on your instrument, you train your mind, you meditate on these things. You're eventually going to get a yes. And then that's going to boost your confidence like crazy. And then you're going to go back out there, you're going to get a bunch of no's. And then the interval will close each time that you start to get yeses. Whereas it took a while, it may have taken a long time before you got a yes. Your energy goes up and your confidence goes up when you finally get one. Then that interval is shorter the next time. And then you get more motivated. And then it's shorter. And you're still going to get told no from time to time, but you start getting a lot more yeses. At least that's been my experience. And
fantastic.
I think it's important to develop an immunity to, hearing the word no, And basically, above all, just don't take it personal. If someone tells you, no, we're not interested in booking you, don't think they're not interested in booking just you. They're not interested in booking a lot of other artists. But your job is to go and make it difficult for them to say no. Make it very hard for them to say no to you. And you go out there and do your thing, and you develop a fan base, and people are willing to pay money, regardless of the level you're on, A level, B level, C level, D level artist, whatever, if there is such a thing. I don't know if it goes all the way to J. But regardless, people, if they pay money, if someone pays currency and money they've worked for to watch you do a thing, there's value there.
You bet.
And if there's value there, you need to realize what that value is and start to, push it, try to capitalize on it. So that's the main thing.
That's fantastic.
I would just tell people, develop the immunity to no, and just build an immunity to it.
Yeah, and no is an okay word, and you're going to get some yeses as well. So, tying into that, Shaun, can you talk a little bit about the power and importance of networking as well, and how important that is in music?
Oh, sure. I would say I learned this from a great guitar player that passed away a couple years ago named Pete Huttlinger. Really a monster player. He played with John Denver all through the 90s, but really just a wizard on the guitar. Pete had said something about, if you have what it takes and you don't live in a town where anything's happening, move to a town where something's happening and meet everyone you can, because 90% of your work will come from references.
Yeah, important.
Yeah. So meet people, shake their hand, have a genuine interest in them too. Because people can tell when you're coming from a frame or you just want to take something.
Sure. Right.
If you're shaking hands and you're real, you're real quick on your feet to want to get away from that person, but you still want to get something from them, they can read that and they're not going to want to work with you. You have to show a genuine interest in an individual and their product and be willing to give to them, and they will give to you. If you're looking for sponsors or gigs, if you're speaking the language of wanting to get a gig, a lot of people just want to get a gig so they can play on that stage. I got this gig and I'm playing on that stage. Well, that's great, but that's not going to motivate the venue, the presenter, to want to book you. But if you go to that venue owner and you say, I'd like to get in here and I can bring X amount of people. You're doing something for them. They will then do something for you.
You bet.
They'll give you that gig where all those people can show up to. So you'll have that platform. So it's just that, again, coming back to the give and take,
Yes. Any sort of learning lessons or challenges around the music business, since it's changed quite a bit, but for you?
Oh, I would just say adaptation, Like, you have to, you're a human being that's evolving every day. You have to evolve with your circumstances every day. If you're not going along with these evolutionary processes within music, you're probably going to get left behind. You just kind of have to accept that. You have to kind of find what everybody's locking onto, and then create something like that can spin off of that. You know, go with it and then break off of it with your own little twist. You know, it's kind of hard to put into words, but you know, just something that'll separate you from the herd. At the same time, I don't want to use the word trendy, because it's kind of cliche, but you know, you kind of have to go where you know think people are interested in a certain either type of music or subject matter, a particular instrument. You know, I mean, you know, look at the 50s and 60s. Chet Atkins was a household name.
Right,
you know?
Right, no question.
Now I talk to people. The average person has never heard of fingerstyle guitar, but take it back to the 50s and 60s. Mention Chet Atkins, and the average person would be like, "Oh yeah," because it was a thing. It was a growing trend or style. So
that's right.
Yeah, you just kind of got to lock on to something, go with it, and try to create your own spin-off. You know, get your edge within that trend, I guess you could say. You know?
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Would you be so kind as to show us a little example of that, or maybe a lot of that, Shaun, as far as your style with guitar?
Yeah, well, like I got the guitar tuned here, this Dadgad, this Irish piece, and basically Chet Atkins, you know, like he had the style with the thumb where he created the bass line to, you know, he would keep that beat going the whole time. And then I actually learned this particular style from Sam Passetti, this little Irish piece. And it's a traditional piece called Merrily Kiss the Quaker's Wife. But I like to start it off in the style of Chet, like this. And here's the melody. So that's how, if Chet were playing it with the straightforward bass line, it would be played like that. But what Sam taught me, and the traditional Irish way to play it, is to take the same bass line, and you're going to hear just a slight modification in the beat. Same two notes, but now check this out. Now it's more got that jig feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful playing, Shaun. Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just a little you know, Irish piece.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's just fun ways you can play with you know, the evolution of music and play with the grooves, play with the time signatures, play with the key signatures, you know, play with the riffs and the placement of the melody. You could do it. You could do anything. It always makes me laugh whenever you know, people will say like, when you were playing that song in the wrong key, and I'll say, well, what song was I playing?
Yeah.
Like if I play Beethoven's For Release and I play it in E minor, it was written in A minor on the piano.
Okay.
And I'll play it on guitar in E minor. And sometimes I've actually heard from people like, oh, you're playing it in the wrong key.
Wow.
I'm like, well, what song was it? And they'll go, well, it was for Elise. I'm like, well, how did you know that?
Yeah.
How did you know it was that song if it
Right.
it wasn't like key, so therefore it's not even that song.
That's right.
It shouldn't even be recognizable.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. You know?
That's right.
Like, at least that's my take on it.
Can you tell us about this guitar? It's beautiful, and it looks like you've got a bunch of stuff going on, some signatures, and what's all happening on that guitar?
Well, this particular guitar is called a Maiden.
Beautiful.
It's made in Australia. This is actually Tommy Emmanuel's signature model. Yeah, I love this guitar. The pickup system is wonderful in it. Those guys really know how to make a well-built guitar for live performance. Yes. And we got a bunch of signatures here. We have, let's see. We got Andy Timmons. Met him in California. We got Joan Baez up here.
Oh, wow.
I played a house concert in San Francisco, and she attended my house concert. That was so funny.
Awesome.
Tim Reynolds from the Dave Matthews Band. I played many shows with him.
Nice.
Over here we have, I believe, David Garfield. That's George Benson's musical director.
Wow.
Paul Quinn introduced me to David Garfield. Paul got me to a show.
Wow.
With George Benson. We both went and we got to hang out. And George Benson signed. I got to hang out and play for him again, thanks to Paul.
Awesome.
Paul just makes stuff happen. That man, shout out to Paul Quinn if he listens. I love that guy. He's the best friend of mine. You know,
Paul's the man.
Almost 9 years now. He's quite the fella.
Yeah.
And then Delbert McClinton, another fella I played with. So yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, just a lot of different people, and I played many other shows with many other artists. I just didn't, gotta have them stop marking up my guitar.
You're right. Yeah.
It's just a fun little hobby. The Gypsy Kings, I played with them. Played several shows with B.B. King, but he wouldn't sign anything. And I totally understand.
Yeah,
because there was this narrative that if B.B. King signed something, people would just go sell it.
Right, exactly.
Right away. And I understand because there's probably a lot of that going on.
Right. Yeah.
People were trying to get guitars signed.
Sure.
They pop them on eBay.
Of course, exactly.
B.B. King signed this, so they're trying to capitalize on that. But I just wanted the signature on my guitar.
Right.
But, so I was really lucky to get to play shows with him. So
So how did that all come about that you played with B.B. King?
I would just open. I would play with him.
Okay.
But I would open his shows. I did 6 or 7 shows across the Southeast, and it was because of Bobby Rossi. A gentleman named Bobby Rossi at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Okay. Has a beautiful venue in Clearwater, Florida, that a lot of big names still go to. It's 2,200 seats. It's an incredible establishment, and Bobby Rossi is a great guy. Amazing. And he said, "Hey, we got an opening spot for B.B. King. We need an opener. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "Absolutely,
of course." Right.
And I did it, and I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. Yeah,
amazing. So, can we talk a little bit about of when was that moment? I'm always interested in this part of people's stories of when did you get that first big break, where it went more from just hobby or I love doing this to I could actually do this for a living.
I would say probably in 2006 I was a welder working at a welding shop from I think 2002 until 2005 2006 and I wanted to play music for a living, and I knew it wasn't going to happen until I left myself no other option. I knew if I didn't burn the boats, I would never play music for a living.
Yeah.
I knew that if I continued to work even a part-time job, I would always have that, fallback attitude, and I would never fully commit, And I talked to my boss one day, and I had very little money, and he was cool. I said, "Listen, I'd like to quit my job and go play music, That's just what I want to do." And he said, "You sure about this?" I said, "Yeah, man. I live one time. I could, I could go at any moment. I'd like to at least do something I really enjoy doing." So, and for the most part, it never feels like work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does get a bit boring. It gets overwhelming, and that's anything. But yeah, well, for the most part, it doesn't feel like work to me, and I really enjoy doing it. And I just love music, and I love it too. Here's a little fun side note. When I play background music gigs, when I play some bars where no one's listening, and I'm just stuck in a corner, I'll often put in my headphones, and people ask me how I do this. It's not that difficult, but I'll listen to comedy or podcasts like this one.
Wow.
While playing the songs.
Really?
And it doesn't interfere with me at all. I'm playing the songs just fine, and people are eating their dinner.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm listening to Bill Burr,
right?
Or Louis C.K. or Joe Rogan.
That's great.
Yeah, or audiobooks. Now, if I were singing, it would be a different story. But just playing instrumental music is not that difficult. So that's another way to keep educating myself while I'm playing my guitar, I guess.
That's amazing. I love that because you're just using a couple of different parts of the brain, right? But you're able to do it at the same time. Wonderful. Yeah. I love it. That's great. Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about Paul Quinn and how you first connected with him, Shaun, and some of the stuff you guys play together?
I met Paul at a music store, Sam Ash in Tampa, Florida, in 2009. He walked in, and Jason Filippini was the music manager at the time, music store manager, and he introduced me. He said, "You got to meet this guy, Paul Quinn. He's a music attorney. He's a hell of a guy. He's a fantastic musician. He's a great singer." He told me all these wonderful things about him. Met Paul, and he was in there with his son, Gabe, that day. And he gave me his email address, and I emailed him, and he got back to me within like a couple weeks. It was my first official email. I'd never gotten an official email where when you get past the greeting, or when you get past the when he says sincerely Paul Quinn, like there's all this information about Saxon and Gilmore, Caraway, and I actually, the first time I got that email, I thought I was in trouble because I read this stuff at the bottom. It said any information in this email that is used can be prosecuted by. I was like, what happened?
Cease and desist.
Yeah, but I didn't know there was some sort of disclaimer. But and I invited Paul and his family to a little coffee shop called Cafe Keeley, and he showed up. Paul showed up and sat right in the front, and I jammed, and and we just became really good friends, and soon after that, him and I started playing music together. He's given me the best advice in this industry. There are things that I was getting ready to do, and they were going to be bad choices. And Paul, with his British accent, would just be like, "I don't think that's a good idea. I think maybe you want to try this." And I know he's going to watch this and make fun of me.
Right.
He would always give me an alternate route that made way more sense. Something that I wasn't even thinking of.
Sure.
He's overlooked contracts for me that I was about to sign that would have done a lot of damage to my musical endeavors, and he saved me from that kind of stuff. He guides people in the right direction. His advice is incredibly valuable, and he's, like I said, he's a great attorney, fantastic musician, family man, and to me, he's just a best friend. Above all, he's a best friend. I'd do anything.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, really grounded musically, but helps a lot of people from his own experience legally as a lawyer. Help, one of the good ones, it feels like. So, and I was watching a video, and Paul was on the cajon, and you were on the guitar. And he was singing. I didn't realize, because we did an interview, and
he's got a great voice.
He really does. I was like, "Who is this? A drummer and a singer?" He's like Don Henley or Phil Collins.
He can harmonize with anything. He's got a lovely timbre.
Yes.
It's so crazy to me when Paul talks with his British accent.
Sure.
And then when he sings, it's like two different people.
Yeah.
But I remember on Paul's 50th birthday, we were all at his house. And his daughter, Emily, had put together this montage clip of all of these successful, notable musicians and producers and other attorneys, like people from all over the world. Will Lee, and Dom was one.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bernard Purdy.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Steve Gadd was on there or not. But all these big name notable musicians were all like, Paul, happy birthday to you, man. We love you. And I was just like, wow, dude. People they just adore you. Yeah. And as they should. Like I said, he's a stand-up guy. There's not a bad thing you can say about it.
Right. Yeah, very good guy. Right. So let's switch gears a little bit as far as let's talk maybe the Wood and the Wire, your album. Okay. Can you tell us about that process of recording as well as writing the songs and what your whole creative process is with that?
Well, when it came to the Wood and the Wire, the tunes just kind of come about like any creative process, very sporadic, not linear. Just, you never know when a melody or a riff or a chord, progression, anything is going to come to you. All the tunes were written all over the country at different places. I recall writing one of the tracks called The Light of Caroline. I wrote the beginning of it I was hanging out with a girl, and I just ended up stumbling across the intro. I didn't write the rest of the tune, and 2 years later, I was in Miami, Florida, at the airport, sitting at a loud Chili's, loud, and I was playing my guitar in the booth, getting ready to fly to Curacao, and I wrote the rest of the tune. So, yeah, things just got pieced together over time, and yeah, every track on there is kind of different from the next, and that's what I wanted. Because I wanted to be eclectic, but it also kind of represents, track to track being stylistically different. At least I try to make it that way. Kind of represents a bit of neuroticism, which is kind of natural. I have a very unconscious neurotic state sometimes because I get overly excited about things, and I can I'll start to tick and quirk and move, and because I get inside, I'm like a child. Yeah, I'm so thrilled about something, and that energy is always wanting to come out. So, and I embrace it now. I used to be afraid of it, but I love it now. It's just a part of who I am. Sure. But yeah. So the tracks being different on the album, we're trying to kind of representing that, one style to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's like wow, this guy can't focus on any one thing. And I would say to them, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I can't stay focused on any one thing for too long. Yeah. If I'm going to play a classical piece, I've got to play a jazz piece next, and then a Stevie Wonder type of funky piece next, and then an Irish piece. I can't play two jazz pieces back to back or two blues. My ear will just get totally wore out. And maybe that's too much for some people, and that's fine, but yeah, that's who I am.
The first time we spoke, you also talked about the importance for you around meditation and nutrition, if I remember. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you take care of yourself on the road with music?
Absolutely. Be happy to. I'm very passionate about the topic because there's a great musician. Everyone knows Billy Sheehan.
Sure.
Great bass player. Yeah. Billy Sheehan. And he's a huge health advocate. And he had a great piece of advice I saw on YouTube one time. And it was regarding nutrition. And he said people complain about paying extra money for food that's good for them. And he said, this was his response, and it's priceless. He said, well, you have a choice. You can either pay for it now, or you can pay for it later. Right. Yep. Which, he said, I don't know about you, but I'd rather pay for it now and coast later than get into my later years and to work really hard to pay for it,
Yes.
And be in bad health. So I used to be very overweight. I was I used to be about 240. I was a very big kid. Ate all the time, ate whatever I wanted. Yeah, didn't work well for me. Okay. And I just started seeking out how to get myself in better shape. And if I'm going to be a musician and not fit the common, what people consider the common narrative that, if you're a musician, you just eat whatever you want, you drink all the time, you go to bed at 5 a.m., and you get up at 4 p.m. And while that's been the case sometimes, it's minus the drinking, the hours have definitely been off.
Yeah.
I started really understanding the importance of nutrition, what you put in your body, and to coincide with that, the importance of the thoughts that you allow, thoughts that you allow within your consciousness. That doesn't get enough merit. People don't study that enough because they don't really think it's a thing.
Yeah.
They're thoughts, but your thoughts cause an emotional charge, and that emotional charge, depending on how you subjectively view the content, if you view it as a positive, you're going to get a positive charge. You're going to get neurotransmitters that make you feel good and motivate you. And if it's subjectively viewed as a negative, you're going to feel bad, and you're not going to do anything. So negative thoughts, bad food can inhibit you from doing your craft, and as well as an array of other things. So fundamentally, it's important to address those. You have to attack those fundamentals first. Like, get your nutrition and your food on point, and your sleep. Sleep is so important. Sleep is such a natural healer.
Right.
You get to bed and have really good sleep.
Yes.
And the thoughts that you feed your mind, the content that you watch, the content that you read, things you expose yourself to. Your subconscious mind is a sponge. It will absorb this content and then show it to you later in your dreams. And if you're viewing negative content, things that make you feel bad, like just programming your subconscious mind through this repetition, you will start to feel like that. You'll go into this state where you feel like this all the time. Whereas if you program with positive stuff, you tell yourself positive stuff, your self-talk is on point, really good. You're not like all this humbling stuff that I hear musicians say sometimes, like some musicians, if they're really good, I'll say, man, you were incredible to listen to. Sometimes I hear musicians go, no, not me. I'm really not that good. I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you this. If you were a doctor and I needed a good doctor to say, hey, you're a doctor. Can I come see you for a treatment? Well, I'm not really that good of a doctor. But yeah, sure. I'm not going to come. No. Your self-talk is so important, what you say to yourself. And this has never been more important to me in my life than in the past 3 or 4 years. Studying psychology and neuro-linguistic programming, learning how to program the mind and the central nervous system to feel positive, because you don't really do anything until you get a feeling. You can logically and rationally make yourself do stuff. Doesn't mean you feel like doing it.
Sure.
There's a total difference between feeling like doing it, where it's coming from the subconscious and the limbic system and the emotions, as opposed to rationally and logically doing it, where you're just like, well, I guess I have to do this. You don't want to, you have to, and then you just do it and you hate it. So neuro-linguistic programming and meditation and psychology, these things are great. I call them cognitive bullets. It's cognitive ammunition to reinforce you. And in times where you might take something personal and let it down, regulate your emotional state, or you're having bad dreams and you wake up from a bad dream and go, oh, my whole day is. Instead, you could then stop if you meditate, come up from a bad dream, and it's going to ruin your day. You can then just go, wait, it's in my head. Those are just thoughts. And I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes on that, and I'm going to breathe deeply, and I'm going to let it out. Then your day's awesome. Your day becomes awesome because you've trained yourself, and it's a practice. One of the best people I can recommend to people when they're looking to learn about meditation, studying the consciousness of the mind, is Eckhart Tolle. Sure. Eckhart Tolle, everybody knows who he is now, the German guru, philosopher. There's a book, many books, but one's called The Power of Now. There's another called, amazing, life-changing. Another one is The Four Agreements. Sure. That's a great book. And then obviously philosophers like Alan Watts. The content of Alan Watts is so profound. Little things like this, they build up cumulatively and they change your life from the inside out. Because real change happens from the inside. A lot of us try to do it externally. It happens inside, and then people around you notice. It shows in your music. It shows in whatever your craft is, your job, because your feelings change. And when the feelings, there's an expression that David Snyder, he's an NLP practitioner. There's an expression he says, the meat does not move without a feeling. It's the body. Meat doesn't move till it gets a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's true. We operate more on feelings than we give credit to. So that needs to be respected. So when people are feeling a certain way, it's warranted that, they need to respect that and go, okay, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling depressed.
Yes.
Don't shame it, don't judge it, identify what the feeling is, and then learn to meditate with it, be with it, and it'll pass you by like a cloud. So it's definitely changed my world. Because I'm also someone, like I said, I'm very neurotic, and I have little tics and quirks.
Yep.
And sometimes when I get very anxious, I tick even more. Like it's called dystonia. It's a type of neurological condition where if your emotions get charged too much, you'll start to kind of clam up, and it can affect you anywhere in the body. So meditation has really helped so much with that. So I tell people to really come at their mind and come at their belly with the best possible content. Thought content for the mind and food content for the nutrition for the belly.
I love it.
You will nourish your brain and nourish your stomach and get good sleep. You'll be happy as a bug in a rug, and you'll create from here on out. And I don't know, that's just my take on it. A lot of people disagree, and that's fine. But it's worked for me, and I lost a ton of weight, and I've got myself in really good shape now because of it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So
that's really great.
I love to talk about the topic because it's been the one, like I said, the one thing that's really put me on a new path, and I feel incredible. So I love to try and help people with that.
Yeah, and it's clearly made a difference in your life. And, for me as a therapist and coach, I'm in total agreement with what you're saying, with the meditation aspect and nutrition. For folks just looking for even a start with that, what's any specific type of meditation that you do, Shaun, or any type of specific nutrition you do?
Well, I would say keep it simple to start so you don't give up. Because a lot of people want to dive in I'm going to start doing hour meditation straight. Well, try 2 minutes first. Try to go, and people be surprised how hard this is to do. Try to go 2 minutes and just focus on your breath.
Right.
No thought. Your brain is going to jump around like a monkey. You're going to try to focus on the breath, and you're going to be thinking about 17 emails you have to send out.
Right.
And that's why people give up, because they judge it. The trick is to not judge it.
Right.
When the brain runs off, when it gets monkey mind, you respect it, you see it, and you go, okay, I'm going to come back. And you come back. And focusing on sensation within the body is the best way, in my opinion, to meditate. So taking the fingers and touching the fingers together and taking the consciousness to that touch for 30 seconds to a minute. It's ideal if you can get up to 20 minutes of deep breathing and focusing on sensation within the body. You'll be amazed at the goosebumps you start to feel, the emotional charges that start to go through the body. Sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry, sometimes you get angry, but they're just their feelings, and if we respect them, they express themselves and they don't depress themselves.
Right.
That's a big problem these days is depression. And depression is coming from holding in. Everyone holds in. No one wants to speak up. Sure. They don't feel like they have an outlet. But there are outlets to speak up. And it works. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what we're all doing all the time anyway when we talk.
Self-talk,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say start small. 2 minutes of meditation. Next day, go up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And go up in 20, 30-second intervals to get 20 minutes. And as far as nutrition goes, I always tell people add a lot of green to your life.
Sure.
A lot of spinach and kale and broccoli. You want greens and fiber in your diet. Don't be afraid of meat. Meat's fine. Don't overdo it because we're obviously carnivorous. We have carnivorous teeth, but we're also herbivores. We're omnivores. We have herbivore flat molars. So eat a lot of vegetables. Moderate amount of fruit. Don't have to go crazy with fruit, but a moderate amount of fruit's okay. Good quality proteins, carbohydrates, good, healthy, clean carbohydrates. And you can have those little little whatever meals, where you go off your rocker every once in a while, but the majority of the time you're eating very clean. Like that gives you leeway.
Right.
Gives you leeway to go off a little bit. Right. Yeah. So, and it's possible as a musician that doesn't make a crazy amount of money. That's not on a tour bus. It's possible for a musician to eat healthy on the road. Like you have to train.
Yeah. So how do you
train? Yeah.
How do you do that then, Shaun, when you're out on the road? Because that's got to be a challenge of like McDonald's on every street or whatever. Are you stopping into Whole Foods or what do you do?
I'll go to a Whole Foods. I'll go to a Nature's Food Patch. I'll go to a fresh market. I'll go to wherever I need to go, and I buy a very special cooler, and I'll load it up with certain type of food that I eat, certain types of butter that I eat, coconut oil, greens. I'll take a hot plate with me. Right. If I need to cook any grass-fed beef or eggs, I need to cook any of this stuff, spinach, saute it, my broccoli, I will pull over on the side of the road, pull out a portable battery, plug in the hot plate. I will cook food in the parking lot of a grocery store.
I love it.
I've done it. I cooked a meal one time in the parking lot of a Staples because I just went inside and bought a portable battery. Yeah. Came out, turned the shopping cart on its side, put the hot plate up there. Yeah. People were walking by. They thought I was some homeless dude that got a hold of a hot plate. But I didn't care. Yeah. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to invest that extra time before I stop at a Taco Bell. And I'm not trying to hate on Taco Bell. I'm not trying to hate on like McDonald's, but the GMOs and the garbage food that they serve to people. It is what it is. The body doesn't want it. The liver doesn't want it. I'll call a spade a spade. The body does not desire that food. So, I'll do what it takes, and it's possible. You just have to figure out how valuable it is to you. And there are supplements. Mm-hmm. Supplements in no way, shape, form, or fashion should replace real food. Right. But in a pinch, you can get quality supplements that will get you through until you can get to your next meal. Right. And that way there's no excuse like, well, I got to go eat at Waffle House because I just don't have any. Well, make this protein shake real quick and eat a banana and peanut butter, almond butter. Right. There's all kind of blueprints in place where you can travel and eat. Reason you won't be able to eat 100% the way you'd like to if you're home. Like I'd say you could get 85% there. Yes. But if you go hitting up Taco Bell, and you're down to 15%.
Right. That makes so much sense too, just because all of that has grown in the consciousness more and organic stuff and all of that. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's great to know how you take care of yourself on the road because it's possible to do, right?
Absolutely. And your food affects your thinking too. Yes. Your food affects everything about your body. It'll affect your hormones. It'll affect how your mood when you get on stage. If you had a crappy meal an hour before you go on stage, you're not going to have near as much fun. Your fun is going to be reduced 50% because you're bloated, and then the next day you go to sleep. Your liver tries to process that, you digest it. You're going to break out. It's just it could be a nightmare. So, and I've experienced. I've been there. So it's just a lot of experience and studying with it, and finding what works for me, and so I get really excited about those topics because they help me.
That's fantastic, and it's so interesting that when I get to talk to different musicians, everybody's different. Some people would say I can't eat a meal for hours before. I was talking to somebody who was like, I'll eat a big Thanksgiving meal and go onto the stage. Everybody's different. What about for you?
For me, I don't want a heavy meal before I go on stage. I want some kind of calories so I don't pass out. Right. Because obviously, playing is not only physically taxing, but emotionally taxing. Sure. So you're burning calories from left and right hemispheres. You're burning the candle at both ends. Yeah. Because I find that after a performance, the more the engagement I have with the audience, the hungrier I am. So I could go work out for an hour and a half straight at a gym and get pretty hungry. Yeah. But I can go play on stage for 2 hours and I feel like I haven't eaten in a week.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
It can really get some serious caloric burn going because the brain is using so much energy. Sure. And you got to replace that. So it's important to go out on stage with some. Yes. But I can't be overloaded because I'll get sleepy.
Right. Okay. So more of like a banana or a protein shake, and that'll do it.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, got it. Yeah. What about any kind of dealing with nerves, or how do you sort of focus your mindset, Shaun, before a gig?
It all comes back to meditation as far as that goes. Like you want to realize that you're just. I'll start to look at things from a very simplistic point of view. Like, let's say I'm looking at a crowd and there's 500 people at my show. Mm-hmm. If I sit there and go, oh my God, there's 500 people here. Oh, look at that crowd. Look at all this. I'm going to freak myself out. But if I kind of just go, oh, look, there's my fellow humankind. And it's just a stage. It's a piece of wood. It's a box with nails. And I'm standing on it merely for the fact that so I'll be elevated so they can see me better. Right. Yeah. So when I start thinking like that, it brings the value of the nervousness down a lot. Yeah. And then I go out and once I play the first song, once I come out and I start playing the first few notes and I start talking to the crowd, I'm fine. As soon as I feel the frame and the energy between us start to engage, I'm good to go. Because what you got to really know also is if people are coming to see you, 99% of them want to see you.
Yes. And
they want to see you do well.
That's right.
Like a big crowd, if you come out and you start to bomb right away, if a crowd paid to see you, there's still going to be he's just he's a little nervous. And then you pick it up and then they cheer you on. Yeah. It's not like if you miss the first few notes starting right off and you're shaky and nervous, that everyone's going to leave right there and never be a fan again. Right. Yeah. That's just not going to happen. Sure. But I say 99% because there's always, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what your endeavor or pursuit is, there will always be a Debbie Downer, a negative Neil, or a negative Nancy. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it, and it's fine. They're a very minute part of the pie here, so they're among the vast minority. But I just embrace it, go out there, and also know that the nervousness is your subconscious mind telling you that you care.
Sure, right.
There's value there, because if you're not nervous at all, you run the risk of being bored.
You bet.
You run the risk of being bored.
Sure.
Your audience is going to be bored. Right. You don't want to be there. You'll be ready to get off stage as soon as you got on. Right. Yeah, sure. So it's a tightrope. Yes. You're a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. If you're not nervous at all, it means you don't care. If you're way too nervous, you can't play at all. Right. So you got to find the middle there. And there is a cool technique though. You can actually physiologically. You may know this as a therapist. A physiological technique to calm the sympathetic nervous system. Is just merely before you go on stage, take a big deep breath and tighten your entire muscular system as hard as you can for 10 seconds. And hold that breath while you count to 10 seconds. And then exhale. And what does that do? Activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Do that 3 times, your nerves will go away.
Yeah, that's great.
Or you can do it the old-fashioned way, just take a shot of whiskey.
Yeah, right. That's the other way to do it if you drink.
Take a shot of whiskey, your nerves are gone. Yeah,
that's right.
You'll be the most charming dude with the most swagger in the world.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. That's awesome. So, what's the feeling then, Shaun, when you're at a gig, when you're playing a show? What's talk about that energy between you and the crowd? What's the feeling you want people to have at one of your shows?
I want them to feel love. I want them to feel good. I want them to feel positive energy. I want them to feel entertained. I want them to feel like I care. Because I do. I want to draw them into my world, and I want to see their world light up because of it.
Yeah, that's great.
I want to hear them clap, not for the sheer fact that they're clapping for me, but the sheer fact that they're enjoying themselves. If I hear them clap and scream and holler, and that visceral response is coming out of them because they can't help it, that tells me it's not forced. That tells me they're actually feeling that.
That's right.
And when they feel that, I feel that. Yeah. And the more I feel it, I get it right back. So, that's real. Yeah. That's really it. I just joy, just complete and utter, almost childlike
Sure.
Childlike joy, like a kid running on a recess playground.
Right.
It doesn't get much happier than that, you know?
Yeah, you bet. Well, and that's what music should be too, right? You're playing, right? So it's called playing for a reason.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And so then where would you like your music to go, Shaun? Where do you want the rest of goals or things for your career?
It's kind of hard to say. I love doing opening spots with, some of my favorite artists and stuff, Yeah. I've always had this dream. I don't know if it'll ever happen. It would be great if it did. But I'd love to just open I've opened some shows for Tim Reynolds.
Okay.
Of Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
But I'd love to open some shows for Dave Matthews Band themselves.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be, oh my God, that would be tremendous.
Sure.
And I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
I'm such a fanboy of that group. And it'd be fun if I got to jam with them or something. But I don't know. I never really think about it too much. I just continue to make my videos, put out my content, and play and see where things take me. And I just try to be as real as possible. Not put up a front. Like what you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get. If you like it, that's awesome. If you don't, that's awesome too. Not a big deal. Yeah. And I mean, I enjoy playing the nice intimate theaters. 300 to 500 seats, and it'd be cool to eventually move up to another level, like maybe 1,000 seats to 2,500 seats.
Sure.
Yeah, who knows? That could be in the future, or I could be playing restaurants and bars and coffee shops. But either way, I'll be happy doing what I do because I love doing what I do. I don't really assign too much value to an outcome.
Okay.
I don't want to latch on too much of it, and I want to have freedom of outcome.
Yeah.
That way, whatever happens, my criteria for success was that I tried.
That's right.
So in order to be successful, your criteria should just be that you go after it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. None of us do ever.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Might as well take a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're living the dream, Shaun. You're going for your dreams, you're going for your goals, and you're living it, right? You're able to do that, and not everybody has to be the Beatles or U2 or whatever. It's sort of like, you're making a living, and you're playing music. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I really. There's sometimes when I get into the frame, maybe I'm taking it for granted. Let's say I play a restaurant, and I'll feel very grateful, and I'm like, oh, I should be playing this place. I just played. I'll immediately catch myself.
Yeah.
I'll catch that part of my thinking, and I'll go, wait a second. You used to work all week long in a welding shop to make like $500.
Yeah.
Now you're making that much money, if not more, in a 3-hour performance on guitar. Right? Maybe you should be grateful.
Right.
And then my whole perspective shifts.
You bet.
Yeah,
because we can all forget that, no question, but the gratitude is definitely one of those mindset things that really helps us click back in, right?
Huge, yeah. Gratitude is it's so important, to appreciate where you're at and what you've accomplished, and, to occasionally reflect on those things and go, wow, I have done this, and, as opposed to focusing on where you're not at, focus on where you are at.
You bet. Well, let's certainly talk a little bit about, for folks who would like to learn more about you and get your music, where can they go, Shaun?
I would say just go to iTunes.
Okay.
You can come to a show, obviously, and buy a hard copy, but if you just want to get my music, just go to iTunes. You can download the album, or 1 song, or 6 songs, or 12 songs.
Absolutely.
Right there, obviously the quickest way to get it these days,
Yeah. And your website is Shaun Hopper?
ShaunHopper.com, yeah.
ShaunHopper.com.
It's HAUNHOPPR, like a grasshopper.
So in closing then, Shaun, for folks who are wanting to make music like you and make a living with it, go on the road, and get to have some of these amazing experiences, what's some of the top 2 or 3 words of advice that you would give them in order to support them getting there?
Well, I would say you have to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you absolutely love it. You got to love it. I did a speech for a bunch of kids not too long ago, and there were about 25 of them, and I asked them, put your hand up if you know without a doubt you want to play music for a living. And out of the 25 kids, 4 of them thrust their arm in the air with excitement. The other, I'd say another 10 were kind of like, like that. Yeah. And then the rest of them were just like kind of arm like this, And I kind of looked at it, and I wasn't trying to be harsh again. People want to view it as pessimistic, but it's realistic. I looked at the other people, the ones that didn't put their hand up, really with excitement. Their body language did not sub-communicate that they really want to do this. I said, you guys can go ahead and go if you want. And they're like, what? I want to play music. I was like, clearly you don't. Because here's what's going to happen. If you don't have the attitude of I do, me, I want to play, that means when you get told no, you're going to give up. Because you don't have enough love and passion for it to want to continue. Like, you're just going to go, yeah, I guess I want to play music. And then when somebody says no, you go, yeah, I guess I can't. And you give up. So you might as well go ahead and leave now and do something else. Go find what you are passionate about. So passion and love. Make sure that you love it, whether you're playing a restaurant or bar or a backyard pool party or, Carnegie Hall. Make sure you love it first, because that love is going to, by the law of state transference, is going to transfer to your audience, So you got to really want to be there, and you want to earn your way there too, because if you earn your way there, it matters more than standing in line at some convention center. I'm not trying to hate on those shows. I get it. They're all, the propaganda of The Voice and like America's Got Talent, X Factor. Like Dave Grohl said, he goes, that's not how you do it. You don't stand in line for 8 hours so some judges with a mere amount of talent can tell you that you're good or bad.
That's right.
No, go get gigs. Right. Go play for people. Go record music. Go sell it to people. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's what's been going on. That's what needs to keep going on.
That's right. And to keep working on your craft as well, right? Your musicianship. And as accomplished as you are, Shaun, with gigs, with albums, what are you still working on in guitar? What are you continuing to try to learn?
There's always, you can always improve. You can always, you're never going to get there. That there is illusory. There is not real. When people say, oh, I can't wait to make it. Well, what is it?
Right.
And I can't wait to get there. Well, as soon as you get there, I can tell you from experience that, there's been songs I wanted to play, and I would tell myself, if I can just learn this song, life will be complete. That's all I need. And then I would learn that song. And I would go, okay, I got that one. Maybe if I learn this song, though.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm 100 songs deep, and I'm still not, it's not good enough, And that's okay. That means I just keep going,
That's right.
And then as those other songs get forgotten, or I stop playing them, or I don't write that, I'll write another piece. You just keep churning out as the vessel that you are. You keep churning out content, So you're never going to be 100% satisfied. Right. That's just, I don't think it exists for us musicians.
Yeah.
I don't think perfect perfect is kind of a silly word, Flawless, perfect, because everything is so subjective anyway. So
that's right. Yeah.
I call it. There was a podcast I did a while back where I told the guy, and someone else also coined this too, but I didn't know at the time. I call it the 80-20. The 80-20.
Sure.
If you can find yourself becoming 80% happy with your end result, and leave another 20% for happy accidents,
right? Yeah.
And creativity and play, things you didn't intend on happening, right. You'll be much happier. Because I promise you, if you're 80% happy with your product, most listeners are going to be 150% happy with it.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, there's always going to be that small percentage of negative Neils and Nancys, but it doesn't matter. You could be Bach reincarnated. They won't like you.
That's right.
And that's fine. We need them. Yeah. But, so, you just have to be passionate, love it so much, and realize you're never going to be 100% satisfied, and celebrate that. Don't judge it in a negative way, because it means you're just going to keep going. You're going to keep going until your time is done here,
Right. Yep.
And it's awesome. Look at Tommy Emmanuel. that guy, him and Leo Cocky, they're so prolific.
Yeah.
Tommy just puts out album after album after album of incredible, absolutely groundbreaking, phenomenal guitar playing, played with so much feel that at the intro of the first track, you'll weep. You know, it's just so moving because you could feel his love for the guitar in music. So. Yeah, and at least this is the stuff I've learned from those guys. You know, they have a lot more experience than me, but you know, I feel like I can speak on it a little bit now, having been in the game a little bit. You know,
you bet.
But yeah.
Well, and
that's that's the best advice I can possibly give. Is just love it. Don't worry about being perfect, and get immune to the word no.
That's fantastic. And those guys are our hope and inspiration. You are as well, Shaun, that we can all keep practicing and getting better. This has been a blast. Shaun Hopper, thank you so much for being on Musicians on the Record.
My pleasure, man. Okay, horn section. All right, here's that melody.